Okay, so today we're going to quickly cover um, the path tools on a very loose sketch and try to bring that sketch up to a little bit higher quality. So again, I'm going to start off with a standard format letter size, and I'm going to do kind of like a very simple boxy car here. So again, I'll start off with my wheels. They're just barely in the bottom line. I'll start off with a box here. A box. And the thing is, at this point, you really don't want to be careful um, because the path tool is going to really help you out. Okay, so I have my box. Now I'm going to put a half teardrop for the glass area. Connect that to the end. And using the same rake of the front windshield, I'm going to cut off a little bit of this box, making the front of my vehicle. There we go. And I'm just going to put a very simple design on the side body here. So I think maybe maybe a straight line that shoots up at that same angle over the rear fender. Something like that will work. And just so I kind of see what I'm working with, I'll make a new layer and try to get that gradient on the side. I'll make another layer, try to get a white gradient to cover this little side design element. There we go. I erase the extra stuff from that side design. And I think that's pretty much my design. So I'm going to merge these layers down. I'm going to go in with a new layer, just white out everything so I have a better look at my vehicle. There we go. I'll merge those two. At a time like this, it might be good to increase the size because with the path tool you can get some really nice high definition renderings. Okay, so I'm going to lower the opacity on this so it's just barely enough where I can see it. Whenever in doubt, I'm going to make a new layer for the path tool. I'm also going to make a new path layer, and the path tool is right here. Well, it's also called the pen tool. Well, I'm used to calling it the path tool. And I'm going to, in a very simple way, try to catch the outline of my vehicle here. And I'm putting one dot around every bend. Go straight with that one. And I'm going to close that loop. Then I'll go back in with the convert point tool. I'm going to put a little bit of lead in everywhere. I'm going to hold control to move this guy back a bit. I think I'll keep this one sharp. Curve that. Curve that. Curve this one. A very subtle curve on that. So that one. Maybe I'll make those nice and straight. This guy back just a bit. Now I'm going to turn on what I call the marching ants. Again, I'll make a new layer whenever I'm in doubt. And I'm going to come in here and put a nice gradient on the side here. So again, I make that same brush really big. I just hit the whole thing and I move down. I'm going to really darken up the bottom here. Sure, it looks like it's planted. And maybe I'll put a little bit extra for the glass. Or maybe not. Another thing I like to do is go on maybe with a white layer, kind of indicate how it wraps around. How the surfaces wrap around. And then I'm going to do select inverse with the white layer, really clean up the boundary of my vehicle here. So select, deselect. Let's see, when it gets too crisp like that, sometimes I like to use that path and I'll make the right pen size. Again, I'll make another layer. I'll come in here with the circle, deselect my path, and then I'll add a small blur to that circle. So again, gives me that effect that it's wrapping around. Or at least it doesn't catch as much attention with that sharp end that way. Okay, I'll make a new path, and this time I think I'm going to catch the window. So I'll come over here with the pen tool, and let's see, bring that all the way to the end. I think that'll work. Just a bit. I think that'll work. Get a little bit Corvette rake. I think that'll be fine. There we go. Turn on the marching ants. Make a new layer. Go in here with the black. Select. Deselect. Bring it down to the right spot. Turn on the marching ants from before. Select. Actually, go in here with a white over this one. Again, to try to get that wraparound feel. Select inverse, and erase all that extra junk away. Go on this guy, turn on the marching ants, select inverse, erase that stuff away, select deselect, and I think it fits in there fine. I think the ends are a little crisp, so I may use that line again. Or you know what? I think I have this layer. I can just bring that on top. Okay, I think that does the job. So the next step I want to cover is putting some really quick wheels in here. So with the circle tool, I'll get my wheel well. I think that'll work. So I can squeeze my wheel nice in there. Whenever in doubt, make a new layer. Go here with the black. Go down to the bottom there. Select deselect. I will duplicate this layer, increase the size, lower the opacity so it's the same value as what I have on the lower part of my sketch. And by the way, when I get to a certain point, I want to lower this opacity so there's just barely enough information for me to see what I'm working with. Okay, so for this one, this is my wheel flat, and I want to really make it feel like it's blending into the body, so I'm going to erase away the bottom with a big fat brush. There we go. I'll erase all that away. This might also be a good opportunity for me to make a new layer underneath all that and go in there with a white brush. Try to get that fender in there. And I will erase away because we want that to really look like it's fading into the body again. Alright, I think that is good. So I'm going to duplicate all three of these, bring them to the back, and I like to just slightly increase the size in the back. I think that looks like it'll work fine. And I have to tweak this a little bit. Make sure that fender looks right. Just want to get a nice bulge out of there. I can increase that just a bit. Increase that opacity just a bit. And now, I don't condone theft, but we're going to go online and grab some wheels. So I'll just put in side view car. You can put whatever car you want. And take some wheels that might match my vehicle here. And, ooh, these look pretty nice. Come on, open up, open up. Oh, that really sucks. I hate it when they do this. Pennant? Alright, I'm boycotting Pinterest. Let's see which picture will come up. Nice and sporty. Okay. Copy that image, paste it here. Those wheels are not the right resolution that I want, but I'm just going to work with it. I want to have a little bit lower profile wheels here. Copy that, paste it, increase the size, make sure that's on top of all my other layers. Put it into position. Again, make it a little bit bigger. There you go. Now the trick is you don't want this car too high off the ground. I think something like this is good. Maybe just a bit bigger, and then later I can go in there and apply some sort of treatment on the bottom of those wheels. I also want to desaturate it because there's an inconsistency level right now. There we go. And I'm going to duplicate this wheel, flip it, and like I did with the rear wheel opening, I'm going to increase the size just a bit, not too much, just a touch. Now I'm going to look at my ground clearance, make sure the rear ground clearance is not less than the front, make sure these offsets are nice. The wheel fits in there nicely. See, I don't want it to be punched up in there. I don't want it to be floating like that. I want it to be in just the right spot and have a consistent ground clearance. I think something like that will work fine. Next, I'm going to merge these two. I'm going to duplicate it underneath the previous layer. I'm going to scale these guys down. Edit, adjustments. I'm going to just black them out like that. And what I'm doing now is adding just a touch of depth. I'm going to erase the bottom of. And whatever's covering the body. There we go. And talking about the body, I think maybe the value I have on that original layer, I think I can duplicate that. Maybe that's a bit much. Maybe I will put like a break in the middle of this. You know what? I think I'll do it on the lower part. And what we're also doing like this is we're visually breaking up the side view mass. And it's helping my vehicle become a little bit more grounded. Alright, going back to the very top layer, I'm going to make another layer. I'm going to make a new path. And now I'm going to get that character line on the side. So I'm going to go with my pen tool, click it from there to here. And sometimes I'll isolate a bend somewhere like this fillet. And I'll close my loop again. I'll come back on the convert tool and tweak this just a bit. Try to catch that design that I had. And bring this a little bit higher. This one too. I think maybe I can bring both of these a little bit closer to the middle. There we go. I'm going to turn on my marching ants, make a new layer, go in here with a big fuzzy brush, and try to catch that nice light catcher like we did with the previous car. Select, deselect. I think I can turn off my original sketch at this point. And now the trick is we really want this thing to fade into the body, so I'll bring it underneath the fenders. I'm going to make sure it's completely erased by this point. And I also want to do a nice fade in the front. We don't want it to look like it's cutting into that front wheel flat. And I think it is a little too crisp. So what I'll like to do is add a little Gaussian blur. And also, I'll take that original character line. Again, make a new layer on top of everything. I'm going to make it the right highlight size that I want. And apply that circle. Now the trick with these highlights is that you want to erase away the appropriate amount. So I'll make a big fat brush, and I'll erase a lot of this away. Yeah, I think that'll work. Maybe erase a bit more here. We want the viscom to really work well. Okay, so let's see, what else do I want to do? I want to maybe catch a little bit highlight on the upper surface here. So maybe I'll make another layer. I'll come over here with the pen tool from here to here. And I'll come back and tweak this just a bit. Turn on my marching ants. And I'm just going to catch a little bit of highlight over here. Select, deselect. And that also helps visually break up that surface again. Remember, we want to break it up horizontally as much as possible to make the vehicle feel that much sleeker. Okay, and then finally, make a new layer, make a new path, and this time I'm going to go in there and catch some window detail. So again, I'll come in with my pen tool. There, here, bring it back down, bring it down here, here with the convert tool. I'm going to try to get that rake angle. Turn on my marching ants. I'm going to do a very quick interior indication here. One of the first things, darken that layer. And maybe put some pillars. Pillar on the other side. Put a seat. Put the driver's head. Put a little bit of steering wheel, maybe the guy's hand. Put the pillar on the other side. Pillar on that side. Make a new layer. Come in here with a white fuzzy brush and get a gradient going towards the top. Then go in there with a sharper eraser and just try to get that reflection in there. A lot of Control Z here. Maybe a little bit lower. Alright, I'm just going to let that go. I'm going to merge those two lights. I'm going to cut out where the door cut's supposed to be. Select, deselect, and make a new layer. Take that path. Come in here with the right size brush that I want. And apply the circle. deselect my layer. I think that'll work. I can duplicate that, scale it up just a bit. And I want to say this is like too fat, but I think I'll let that go. I'm going to duplicate that again. I'm going to invert it, and now I'm going to use it as a light catcher. So maybe I'll bring it over there. And I'll duplicate that layer, but get rid of one of them. So now I'm going to get the light catcher on the upper part of that frame. I'm going to erase this tail end part because that's kind of doing a little overlap. I don't like that. I'll bring that one back, and I'll bring whatever position I want into the right spot. I think that'll work. And I'm going to erase most of it. There we go. Make sure it's in the right layer order. I think that'll work. So that's for the glass. And I think I'll just start wrapping it up now. I can apply the same thing that I did with the window cut line to making some tail lights, some front lights. You know what? In fact, I'm thinking break up the side body here because I think it still looks a little fat. So again, I'll make another layer here. Or, you know what? I could probably use this layer here. Make a new layer, go with my brush. Make sure it's small enough. Hit the circle here. Deselect that layer. I'm going to stretch out this. I think that'll work. There we go. It kind of works for the rear bumper this way too. And for the front, make sure I place it in the right place. I want it to go below my wheels. There we go. I'll duplicate that layer, invert it, and use it as a light catcher. This is also a great technique for doing the door cut lines. I'm going to make sure it's not bleeding in here. See, I don't want that like that. With the highlights, in fact, I'll erase most of them. I erase most of them away. Just give a very subtle indication of what's happening. Okay, so the final thing I'm going to do is make a new layer as a color filter. I'll come in here and paint it whatever color I want. Scott, what color do you recommend?
Red.
Why does everybody say red? Alright, so now with that color filter, I'm just going to come over here and paint this car red. See, the problem is this technique doesn't work with all the colors. And sometimes red is one of those colors that won't work. But I think this time it's okay. One trick with this technique is you want to erase anything that's not supposed to be that color. So, and I think the glass. Or at least that darker area. Select, deselect. Oh, we forgot about this area. So this lower body cladding, we don't want that to be color. And let's see what other color options we might have. What if I change this? Oh, I think orange looks nice. Yellow works really well. And this technique also works really great on toned down colors. Yeah, I think we're going to bypass the red. A very subtle color. This one?
Teal.
Here?
Yeah, right there.
All right. How about a little color shift? I'll duplicate that layer and tell me which color now. I'm going to mix it with the teal. Right there, huh?
Yeah, that's a good move. Comes pearlescent here.
Yeah, and I'll erase most of this. And maybe a finishing move, I can come in here and put a shadow, or I can white out the bottom. I think whiting out the bottom, that'll make my vehicle feel even sleeker. There we go. Let's fade out the bottom. Okay, and that is my 20-minute demo. So I'm just going to sign this off. SM14. I think I want to get a slightly different font this time. Come on, something cool, something cool. All right, I'm just going to leave that. And thank you guys for checking this out. I hope it helps. No, put it over here. File, save as, path demo. Okay, thank you very much.